Hey there, guys.
Hi.
Rob's natural greeting. So,
Such as his personality is.
You have to
yes,
have a personality.
this is Antonio's face.
Why?
Honestly, I have less of a personality and more a collection of personality defects.
Mm,
I was thinking you were going to say you were Legion. But.
No.
no.
My defects are, but I am not.
It's a very interesting way to start this off. So, decided that we were going to do a little discussion because I really like watching anime. He really likes reading manga.
And I just like to be contrary.
So
Yes.
he's a third party that does other things.
So yeah, he's the third party.
I'm for everything else, which is basically Western animation and hybrids, like Kobyoko. I get mine in first.
That's French.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's the only good thing I can think of the French have ever made.
I think Iron Man Armored Adventures is from France too.
What?
I think Iron Man Armored Adventures.
So yes, you get your foot in the door first. So
Yes.
Code Lyoko. I agree, it's a good show.
And also, I mean, some of the plot has major holes in it, but I mean, fuck it, I watched Bleach,
Yeah.
which is basically a thin layer of
Fillers.
holes covered in big swords.
Also,
And
a
other
thin
phallic
layer of
imagery.
holes, then covered in. This was all part of my master plan, but yeah.
I'm not gonna go into that.
Yeah,
I'm not
we
gonna
shouldn't go
deconstruct
into
that because that's been done.
Yeah. That's not what this
Many
is for.
times.
This is for something completely different. What?
I said many times over.
Yeah. We all know.
Moving on.
Moving on. So,
Sidetrack.
Code Lyoko, you're hybrid, yes? Because you're
Yes.
into you're CGI?
Yes, basically, and
Okay. You can make arguments for certain ones that use CGI, anime that use CGI.
yes. Well, basically, it's more of a Kobyoko is more of a technique than a specific genre, as I would call it. Because basically, it's the idea that they can use a certain art style to, or difference in art style to convey differences in what's actually happening. Like, there's a couple other ones, like in some games, like you've been doing Persona.
Yes.
Like how does the difference between cinematics and that are cinematics that are using the actual characters, which are rendered and modeled in 3D, and the anime style ones. Whereas the anime style ones are usually much more plot centric, and the other ones are more it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's here, but it doesn't really matter. Alright.
Oh, also representing Western animation, a la Avatar, and even cartoons like Fairly Odd Parents, which is kind of baller. Or it was. It's gotten worse. But I'm not going to go into that.
They added a dog to it.
Added a dog to it.
A fairy.
We're not going to
Dog.
go into it.
What?
Yes. His name
We're
is
not going to
Scooter.
go into it.
The decline of Western animation.
Well, and then we get to current days, which we can go into later. Moving on.
Current days,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Like
Me
SpongeBob.
go. Okay, well, I'm gonna argue against you really quick because
Me or him?
For SpongeBob or
you. I don't have reason to respond to him. He's the atheist in this party.
is he?
The only one?
Anarchist. There we go.
Okay.
I was trying to think. You remember the discussion? we
Yes,
had.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. So, anyways,
I
yes,
don't,
you,
but I
you're the
will.
anarchist
don't
in this
care.
situation.
I
So,
do.
Like I said, no
so
one cares.
my argument basically is, I really like to watch anime mostly because it helps me keep pace with myself, and I also find.
Get trouble. I'm the one who ate those.
There's a box of Oreos over there.
It's not a box.
Okay, there's the
package.
thing of Oreos.
A package of Oreos that was finished like last week.
But a certain asshole decided to leave it and have the cover closed like it's preserving something. It's not preserving anything.
It's preserving.
So, anyways, Rob got trolled.
Feelings of troll.
Resuming. Helps
Actually,
me
it's
keep
Pandora's
pace, slowing down, and I love color.
box. Okay, but they're color chapters.
Okay.
Really?
so
Because
you
the
know-
most I've ever seen in a manga is like 3 or 4 pages of color, and then the chapter resumes to being not colored.
That's
Well-
basically the understanding. In fact. Good.
Have you read manhwa?
Never heard of it.
Okay, it's Korean manga, and
That would be why I haven't read it.
the entirety of it is in color. Every chapter.
By the way, it's very difficult for you to say that my side is better because certain parts of certain genres are the same as what all of yours is.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even think of a black and white anime.
Although that would actually be kind of cool.
There are black and white portions of anime.
Usually for emphasis, whereas basically what we're
Yeah.
saying is that it's normal for yours the emphasis and back and forth.
Yeah, it's the same way around. I mean, yours uses color to emphasize, mine uses dark black and white.
Or just to celebrate things.
But
Like,
color. I really like color, for one. Helps me keep pace because I'm too fast. At least if you ask me.
I go fast.
I read it.
So then it
I
slows
read
you
it too
down.
fast. So because I have to read the subs as they come up, it keeps me at pace. Also, we're not going to get into subs versus dubs.
No, we're not. We're just going to say subs are better and go from there.
Subs are
Really
better.
good dubs though.
There are some good ones.
There are some
But
good
overall,
ones.
subs are better than dubs. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And ignore the fact that I just made him almost fall over laughing.
You did. So, helps me keep pace. And also, I do like having larger portions of things. Like, plot.
Right.
Sure. Bleach. Yes.
Okay.
Real quick, I'm just
Ignoring all filler episodes.
I
Like,
mean,
just.
filler episodes that could be in any anime.
Well, yeah, because.
basically you're talking about things like Bount and Bleach, where they add extra things they need to they need the time to catch up.
Yeah.
Where they put extra things in, which is questionable because I don't.
Well, sometimes they carry it on well. Like,
Yeah.
with the bounce, actually, the leader comes back in his flashback during the Bankai training.
Yeah.
In the anime, that is. Of course, he's not in the manga, so it doesn't
Because
exist
they're like,
in there.
we'll add this.
Well, yeah, he's one of
Well-
the people that speaks to him and gets him through the actually using his
The
Bankai.
problem with that. By the way, I'm mostly going to be arguing against everyone because I can. The problem with that is largely that if you can slide it in and still have it roughly, and still have the anime roughly parallel course of the manga, that basically means you're adding in plot that is unimportant. The point of any part is that none of it should be able to be stripped wholesale and make little to no difference. Whereas you'll notice that if the Bound arc never existed, the whole thing would still hang. Okay, I won't say fine or well, but it would still, cling together like a flimsy excuse for big swords and awesome explosions.
Yes.
So the
And-
point, basically, all I'm saying there is that if they worked it in more,
Oh, I know.
then it wouldn't actually be anything
I
new
mean,
to anime.
I'm not even gonna try and go over the second filler arc because, oh look, we're in Hueco Mundo. Oh, now we're in the real world. Huh?
Wait,
What?
You're only counting 2 filler arcs of Bleach.
I know. I'm
He's
just.
not saying
I'm
there's only
focusing-
2. He's just saying the
The
second
second.
one. That's not saying only the second's only 2.
I'm talking about when the swords become human-like. Yes.
Oh.
Okay, can we just move on to something better?
Anyways, yeah. Okay, let's just.
Anything better?
So, what do you have to say?
Well, I enjoy reading manga. I will pronounce it however I wish
It'll probably
because
change.
probably it does.
Yes.
Because I don't have to sit for a half hour to finish like a chapter or multiple chapters as would be an episode. I don't need to devote that block of time to getting that information.
Okay. So you don't have to devote time or as much time? Is this your problem? Not
Oh, you
as
think
much
that's-
time?
Oh, you can phrase it. It's not so much the amount of time that he's referring to as the block of it.
You just have to do 30 minutes because it's,
Yeah.
well, it's 22
Well,
usually.
I mean, and
but
also-
yeah.
I'm using 30 minutes as
Yeah, because most people say 30 minutes even
Yeah.
though it's 22, 24.
But yeah, like, I mean, I think that there's something to be said for both, because you're talking pacing, but I mean, the only issue I have with pacing is that there's a lot of good anime and a lot of good mangas, and if I pace myself, I'm not going to get through a substantial amount of it. I mean, I'm never going to be able to get to all of it because there's a lot of it.
and
Yeah.
then you hit
But
a series
I
where
can
each
get-
chapter is 40 pages.
But I can get more of it if I go faster.
Yeah, but the problem I have when I go faster is I end up losing things in the words. Or I just start skipping words because I start skipping things that I don't think are important and then I'll mess up words.
Well, yeah.
Like sometimes I'll skip there and I think it's a the and it'll make things weird.
There's one manga I've ever done that with, and that was Death Note.
And that one is
Okay.
That's kind of a special case.
Yeah.
It's because that has
A lot
more
of
words
things.
in it than the English dictionary.
Okay, that's when you watch the anime and you don't have to read it to yourself. They say it all out loud.
Well, no, but see,
Or-
the other thing there is that the only situation in which you don't have to read it actually is if you're watching the dub.
The dub's not bad of Death Note.
I'm not saying
Yes,
that it's not,
but-
but I'm just saying in general your rule that works doesn't apply to subs because you still have to read all the words.
Okay, yes, that rule does not apply to subs.
So,
However, he's only mentioned Death Note as being one where there's too many words in it.
yeah.
Mhm.
But his point is that he doesn't have that problem anyway. My
Alright.
point is that even if that was a problem, it would still be occurring in your version of what you're saying.
Mostly.
So this is a problem that's just with reading, and just anything that's in a foreign language in general originally.
You also have to agree that Death Note has many, many words.
Yes.
And a lot of them are death and kill.
Yeah.
Really, I think whoever was writing that should seriously get some help.
Or lots of
I mean,
names.
if I had written that kind of shit in school, I would have been.
You probably
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
have shown it to
he
anyone.
was really good at it.
Funny story.
Or she. I don't even know. Is
Oh.
Death Note
Who cares?
It switches.
really?
Yeah.
Wait, so like one day it's a girl and one day it's a guy? I'm confused.
Yeah,
here.
it's like a divorce. They both have custody, but one isn't on the weekends, the other is during the week.
So
Take nothing.
The other thing is-
nothing he says is admissible as evidence in the court of law.
Don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything.
So the,
I
other,
mean,
the other thing I have to go off to is the ones that aren't ever originally a manga, or they start off as light novels.
Mhm.
Well, obviously you can't read the manga of it then, so that's like, it's like should I read?
I know he's
Oh,
read the light novel of Sword Art Online,
Yes.
which is an amazing anime. Or okay, here's the difference. It's really entertaining. On the other hand, it's not that great.
I read the light novel, and then they started making a manga for it. And I read that too.
I don't know when they started anything in order around those. On the other hand,
I'd have to look it up.
okay, one
Corbin's
other
not here.
thing is fight scenes in motion versus fight scenes in standstill.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
80% of the time, universally speaking, fight scenes are better as an anime than a manga. The only thing I would comment on that is certain times, if you get one frame of it, that frame is really bloody awesome. And when they just like kind of hang out in a pose in an anime, that just doesn't work.
And also,
Like, because it looks cool, but sometimes you're like, why are you all just standing still?
if there's too much going on in the fight, you can lose what happens.
Okay.
This is back to an argument about your pace. This is actually the counter to your argument about pacing. Whereas on the one hand, the fight scenes look better. On the other hand, you can set the pace for that yourself. So you can say, okay, Fighter A punched Fighter B, Fighter C got kicked in the face by Fighter D, helpless child A got senselessly murdered by Hero A.
Let's see.
Okay, and then kind of once I read anyway.
Can I can't think of any where I've lost track, truthfully. I don't even know of any where there's a large enough scale of a fight for that to happen, truthfully. Because even in the anime, they tend to focus a lot they'll go from person to person rather than like in the manga where it's everybody at once.
Well, it's not always everyone at once, though. It's usually split up into panels.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is basically what
it's-
you get
it's-
in a series of scenes, the manga gets in a page or two.
Yeah, that's
Because
what I'm aiming at.
because it has all the different things
Yeah.
going on, and it. I think, as I said, I think that as far as action goes, it tends to be better animated than static.
Yeah.
There being exceptions in both ways,
Mhm.
and there's being some that just sucks, obviously,
Mhm.
like everything you've ever done.
I don't know about that. There's been like one prize for that thing.
I can think of one thing that you did that was a good idea. Well, for everybody at least.
Uh-huh.
They've been good ideas for me.
What's this good idea? Or is
Gave
it
me
not?
stuff.
Okay. I was
That
gonna
was
say,
good
is it
for
significant too?
Well, for everyone that matters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it wasn't good for me.
Like I said, for everyone that matters.
Then why would I give you stuff if it wasn't good for me?
It's good for everyone that matters.
So the other thing
Yeah,
for
but
me
that's
too
what she
is
said, too.
with anime, I'll also always end up with something from it that I'll always remember. With a manga, the only way I tend to get something vividly into my mind, besides the covers generally,
Mm.
is if I was listening to music and then I hear that song. I mean, at least with the animes, I always have background music already going on in a fight scene. There's also the openings and endings.
No.
Well, that's more a personal thing than overall. 'cause
I'm just questioning
people
whether
do-
he has this problem.
Because people do tend to associate music with things very frequently. On the other hand, I know that, for instance, a lot of the plots I actually absorb just as easily from manga, and since I do get more than this thing, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I remember most of D-Grayman only because truthfully, I sat there with Boulevard of Broken Dreams on repeat, and I was listening to that the entire time I read D-Grayman.
Okay.
And now, whenever I hear the song, I see the entire manga flash through my head.
Well, the
And I remember
thing
up
say
to where
there
I was.
is that I don't tend. Is it by that token? If I'm remembering things associated with music, I never listen to music that I hear in anime ever again.
Oh, I do. All the time.
Yeah,
But that's you.
that's the
Okay,
personal
yes,
thing I'm saying.
you-
That, like, I don't tend to listen to it partly because I don't tend to listen to music that's not in the language that I speak, and very little music that's from a Japanese show is in good English. As a rule.
There are some exceptions.
Well, yes, there are also some good dubs. They're few and far between.
Well, I mean, I can bring up a decent exception right off the bat.
You could if I cared.
Yeah, but that was different. That was retooled for that.
That's
Okay, but it
basically-
was also even in the original Japanese version. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
but the thing itself was, it was made for.
Still had to request an English band to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's also
True.
not
We're
normal.
referencing Dead Man Wonderland.
Yeah,
I want to look it up.
Yeah,
We'll
it's.
drop it in.
It's also not
I can.
It's not
drop,
normal
I
at
can
all
cut in the song.
to
too.
have an
Yeah, we'll just drop
English
it in.
I
opening
can put
song.
it in the background easily.
But as far as things go, as a rule,
It isn't.
if we're going to associate something with music, it's actually easier to have music playing while you read manga that you'll associate with it later than it is to just randomly get the same music. I mean, I tend to associate things with music, but at the same time, I don't tend to only recall them when I hear that music. So, like,
It depends, I guess.
that's largely a personal preference thing
I
rather
would
than a
guess so.
quality of.
I brought it
experience,
up
I think.
just because there are probably people that go both ways, and
Yeah.
it's worth bringing it up.
There's always people who go both ways.
Apparently.
I know a
Okay.
few of them actually.
So-
I bet you do.
Is there anything you want to say to me now?
Yeah, actually.
Let's ignore Rob in the background.
You meanie.
I know. I enjoy being mean.
I
Um,
bet you do. That's what he'd like to say to you.
Now then. Well, I
Now
don't
then.
know where I was going. He's
Sorry.
distracting me.
It's okay.
With his shenanigans.
That's what you said.
So this means I win.
No,
Case
it
closed.
doesn't. It just means that I've forgotten.
Well, now, clearly, it means since both have strengths and weaknesses, hybrids are the ones that are best capable of putting together the strengths and weaknesses.
I guess.
Unless
to
it's
make
a
it strength.
bad
But there's a
hybrid.
few problems
Like
I
a
have.
cloned sheep.
There's a few problems I
Yeah.
have
Are
with a
hybrids.
lot
With some
of.
sort of other DNA thrown in.
I will address you eventually, but
I know.
some of my big problems is just too much. How to put it? How to phrase it? They just try to make it seem for a far younger audience. I guess anime
Well, no,
it
that's-
always seems focused for an older audience,
Okay.
mostly.
No. That's because you have the benefit of choosing which ones you're
Yeah.
exposed to.
That's
That's
what
like
you're
me
watching.
saying, okay, I'm going to go walk into this room full of biographies and
Well,
nothing else, and
I
say,
haven't even
well,
s-
clearly all literature is biographies.
What cartoons have you seen that aren't?
Well, no, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Well, first of all, among others, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack is kind of in the middle, but overall, a lot of them are actually, especially recently, like Adventure Time for another one.
The old SpongeBob.
Basically, they were designed for children just because we have the cultural thing in America where we consider animation something for children. But at the same token, we're getting more and more sophisticated cartoons these days, where, as I said, all the ones I just mentioned, and just even the ones that are focused on younger people, have things that are more accessible to adults. And by the same token, Eastern animation, anime in general, has the same kind of thing. The problem being that everything that we do as far as TV ever goes, 90% of that would be animated if we were in Japan. Because they just do animation for everything. So I don't watch their like little kid cartoons. I don't watch the animated version of Barney. First of all, because probably, and it would scar me for
like the youngest oriented anime I've ever seen is the one about the hamster. Hamtaro?
Hamtaro.
Yeah, that's like the youngest
that was also
oriented.
Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty's actually in London. On the homepage.
Interesting.
On her homepage,
but
she's from London.
This is our other thing where we need to point out that things that are associated with anime aren't necessarily actually what we're going to call anime, because if we're going to call anime things that aren't necessarily Japanese and other Southeastern Asia, then we need to start including things like Code Lyoko and Avatar and a little bit of Adventure Time, actually, because that's far less of the traditional cartoony and much more...
What I think most people do is do the bridge like I just said, where most people say cartoons are the ones that seem for the younger audience.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is that anime is not for younger people because things that are for younger people is not anime.
No, I'm just saying that's how most people seem to associate it, and I think that's how they end up classifying it.
Yes, but all I'm saying is that when you say that from what you know, things that or anime is much more oriented towards younger people, and then we talk about what we're associating with anime, and we include things that aren't actually, the original definition is, which is Southeastern Asian animation, and then we basically say, well, these things shouldn't be included because they're for younger people.
Yeah, I know.
So
we can include.
So it's a tautological standpoint where anime isn't for younger children because things that are for younger children aren't anime.
I would say so. However,
because again, I think most people would classify things that are associated with things like Hello Kitty and Hamtaro as anime style because we didn't know it came from here. We just know it came from somewhere over there. That's the other definition that we could use. We could just broaden it from Southeastern Asia to not here.
Not here, yeah.
Which would be a terrible injustice, both to as far as I'm concerned, local. Nice little US of A. Local animation as well as
the styles are so
European animation and other things. I wouldn't even really say that because we're stealing a lot of their stuff.
I know, but even then we don't steal it well. At least if you ask.
American flags
Avatar.
in China.
That's gonna be my second. That's gonna be one I go to because Avatar is fantastic.
He's not saying it isn't
honestly,
decent.
in a lot of
I know.
ways.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna say that's my premier example.
I guess
of. In a lot of ways, actually, that's also.
I would have wondered what would have happened if somebody from Japan had made Avatar. Is basically now what I should raise up.
The other thing, in a lot of ways, actually, it was based on that area, on traditional...
All the bending styles are actually types of fighting styles.
Yeah,
Chinese and other South and Japan, Taiwanese.
Yeah, once upon a time I actually knew which ones were associated with which, but yeah.
Yes, but we don't care. It's not actually detailed, but the point is that a lot of it, if you look at it, does take very interesting notions and fairly accurate ones of Asian culture. I'm gonna substitute Asia for Southeast Asia, which is what I'm really referring to, and I hope that you all can go with me on that. And say, put the disclaimer right now. Actually, no. I was gonna say don't bitch about it, but please, bitch about it. Just do it in the comments.
You probably should have said that before.
Maybe, yeah.
You can just put that in the front.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll edit it out.
It just seems to be most of what I see.
Oh yeah, that's again a lot of that is going to be selection bias because it's a load of anime, and you're not gonna watch the thing that's basically Barney. First of all, because Barney's
I don't even
creepy.
know if I could find it. It's part of it too.
I'm sure you could. It's the internet.
Oh, probably only Raw, though. Or Raw, sorry.
Because nobody likes Barney.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's our solution for today. Nobody likes Barney. Agreed.
Yeah, nobody likes Barney. We agree.
Excellent.
On the other hand, I can agree.
What?
Well,
I don't think they even like it. I think they just make
Well,
them a lot of money.
no. They don't like it anymore.
I don't think they ever liked it. I think it just made them a buttload of money.
No, I think they did.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, even the younger ones that I can think of, like Cardcaptor Sakura.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the other thing that I would mention is that just like we have, it's like a lot of our animation is gearing itself towards a somewhat older audience, towards a somewhat more sophisticated audience, I should say, because Avatar,
Yeah.
Code Lyoko, even SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents, they do require a degree of sophistication that other ones haven't. And in that, and also that they have jokes that are meant for old people. And we notice the same thing happening a little bit ahead of we noticed a little bit earlier in Japan, where we see things like Cardcaptor Sakura, and just in general the other.
Where everyone is 15 but looks 18.
I don't know.
I think it's shoujo. Ones with basically things like magical girls and other ones, whereas shonen is male, and those are still
Yes,
kind of
it's
shitty.
shoujo versus shonen, but yeah.
I think that's the other thing that I'm going to bring up here. That's not part of the original debate, but I think we can expand it a little bit. Is that if you look at shoujo versus shonen, shoujo's a lot better plots.
A lot of the time, actually, yes.
Because, like, I mean, in shoujo we have Cardcaptor Sakura. In shonen we have Bleach.
But we also have One Piece.
Yes, but we also have Naruto, which nowadays is pretty decent. But the first couple seasons,
Yeah. It could have.
What?
I mean. Just a slap. Also, I don't know. What would Madoku Magica fall under?
That's the deconstruction.
I know,
Yeah.
but is it shoujo? Is it.
Probably.
I probably, from what I've heard of it, I haven't seen it.
It would be magical girl.
I wouldn't call it shoujo because shoujo
wouldn't.
doesn't necessarily. Shoujo isn't necessarily magical girl. It's just that it's
Well, that's
basically
the
the
example
age
you were
range
using.
of
Yeah.
pre-teen to early teen girl, if I want to.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah, that's
not.
pretty much what it is.
And that's not what I would call that. Like, that's a lot how, like, D. Greyman could be called shonen because it does have the things of general action and plotline that a lot of the time seems to be no more than an excuse for them to have cool shit.
But on the other hand.
On the other hand, it's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
It's like Death Note in that.
Wait, you think the Gray Man is creepy?
Is.
It is. I'm not saying...
You're going off your opinion. It is.
No, D. Greyman is fucking creepy.
You have people being brought back to life
If you look at- especially-
in pretty much pop-out skeletons.
Oh, okay, you're talking about the Akuma.
I'm talking about...
Otherwise known as demons.
That's
yes,
creepy.
That's that's the primary thing in D.
Okay.
Greyman. I really don't think you can argue that D. Greyman isn't creepy.
We're only talking about the first form, though, I'm assuming, because the ones after that turn a lot more humanoid.
That doesn't
Yeah,
stop them
but
from being creepy. Especially because
If you're talking about the little chibi angel, he's still creepy.
everything... Oh, the other thing is that when you really think about it...
Which tier are you on? 4?
Yes. That's the
I've
little
only
chibi-
gotten to tier 3. So.
Honestly,
Okay, well-
it doesn't really matter when you... Because when you get back to it, it's still somebody else, like somebody's relative
Somebody's
brought
souls,
back
yes.
unwillingly who hates everything.
Against their own will,
Yes.
but yeah.
Which would be creepy.
The premise is creepy. The art style is meant to bring home the fact that this is pretty fucking creepy. They look a lot like clowns, which by itself is fucking creepy after they get past tier 1.
Yeah.
Because clowns are fucking creepy. If you disagree with me that, I don't care, you're
Tier
wrong.
4 about yay tall with wings.
I know.
Anyway.
I don't even want to
so-
know about the tier 4.
They're
Yeah,
fine.
those
I
are
can't
basically-
imagine
I
how
think the
hard the tier
deconstructions
4 would be.
really don't belong in
Yeah.
shoujo and shonen. They're more adult works that
Yeah.
if someone who's actually in the age range designated to be targeted by shoujo and shonen and I read it, they'd be like, well, I'm having nightmares tonight.
Yeah, probably. Well, I
mean,
guess
there are
Madoka
some-
could do that in episode 7, but
I haven't
after
listened, I
that,
haven't watched it.
And
I kinda do.
I don't know. After that, it's more mind-fucky rather than creepy.
It's still really creepy.
There's a difference between mind-fuck versus creepy.
Yes. Anyway,
There
we
might
should
be
prob-
spoilers,
actually-
by the way.
Not really, actually.
Should put that up front, too.
I always
might
do.
be, but honestly, we haven't really spoiled
I don't think we
much.
I think-
spoiled anything.
Oh, no, I'm about to. When he's eating his own body. That's not creepy. Kyuubi. When he's eating his own body.
If you hadn't mentioned the actual name, that would have been a spoiler.
Because he had a very quizzical look on his face.
QB.
Even though he just watched it.
His name's QB.
Even though he just watched it yesterday.
Okay. That he looked like a marshmallow when he was being eaten.
But Bud was him.
That's one of those things where it's like fridge creepness.
Yeah.
There's a better term for
Okay,
that,
they
it's
can
about
get
TV
freaked out
shows.
because Cute Thing ate Cute Thing again.
Cute Thing ate himself.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's not so much.
we should
spoiler,
probably, since we're hitting the 30-minute mark, we should probably wrap this up a bit.
yeah. We can wrap it up a bit. We can keep going. Doesn't really matter.
I don't
Depends
know.
on. Mostly if you want to continue.
I could, but
Because
I
your
think,
constructive
English
criticism is well worth you being here.
honestly, I feel like,
You want to break it up into parts?
basically, I feel like we've hit our original goals for this, and we've diverted sufficiently that we should probably just do another one.
Okay.
So at this point, we'll just say, as far as the fusions go, they're a burgeoning matter where some of the strengths of Eastern animation can merge with some of the culture of Western animation. And we're getting some really interesting stuff, and also how different art styles can be used on their own to indicate differences between situations or emphasize different things. We have anime, which helps control your pacing and stop you from going through the entire damn thing instantaneously, as well as a tendency towards much better action scenes and color, which is nice,
Yes.
usually.
The negatives for that is you have to have the block to
Yeah,
watch it.
basically,
You
anime
need the
tends,
time.
and especially, and also that a lot of things are more difficult to get access to unless you go to places that are questionable legality. Or
Yes.
spend money. Manga is slightly easier, but also, by the way,
Slightly,
I
but
should
it's
mention
still
just real quick and plug
just
this
as
in.
questionable.
Anime tends to be,
Pointed.
I was
watch
going to
streamed
say,
online.
lagging behind the manga to an extent.
That too.
Just because it has to be, because the manga has to come out first so they can.
Unless they
And
do
unless-
a bunch of other animes have and just make an anime only ending.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
also a large majority of anime only that don't even exist with manga.
Yes,
so.
well, that obviously is part of this debate because there's no manga to compare.
And there's also a lot of manga.
There's also the ones that do
don't
it
have
to
an
the
anime.
light novels and thus have a lot to go off of in
Yeah.
one run. So
Anyway, as far as manga goes, you get to control your own pacing. You can go as fast as you bloody well want. You can take your time if you need to. Excuse me. And as a general rule,
It's also got some really fucking cool art.
yes.
yes,
other side
but
benefit, especially
you
with
realize
reading
that
manga
so
online.
does anime.
But you'd
Well,
have to
no.
go into the anime, stop the frame, whereas manga you can just download the page.
The other side benefit is that a lot of manga has colored art scenes or so on and so forth at the beginning and end of chapters. Depending on how you get it. But that's neither here nor there, and that's a specific kind of reading. So basically, they both have this pros and cons, and it's personal preference. That's
Yeah.
the end of it. Or you can always, do both.
Yes.
In fact, that's what I tend to recommend. Unless you're about 10, like I was, and was trying to get away with it in the dead of the night when your parents thought you were asleep. In that case, you should read the manga. Because it's much easier to hear your parents come to the stage that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, did I ever tell you what my first anime
Also-
was?
No, and you can do it after we're done.
Yeah, we'll
At this
finish
point,
this
we'll
up.
call it a day, and we'll
It's actually a
come up
night.
with something interesting.
Yeah, if you guys like hearing us debate, let us know. Comment it, like it, so on. And we'll probably do more. See
Oh,
you
and if you
later.
have any major complaints, please bitch about it in the comments.
Yeah,
We'll probably respond because we have no lives.
Yes.
You have no life.
Neither do
I
you.
stole it. On that note,
I'd have
On
to
that
have one to
note-
steal.